Welcome, Mike Waiter here. I'm glad to see you're going to join us here at the first part of a 6-part series on how to become a dynamic leader. The very first part is about leadership responsibilities, and you need to take some actions in order to be that responsible leader. You know, in your organization, sometimes you're not going to be there. For your company to be stable and to be successful, they need to have a leader on hand at your company all the time who can make decisions and solve problems. Sometimes you decide to take a vacation. Sometimes you're homesick. Sometimes you're going to go to a training away from the company that you know you need. But when you're there, what happens? In all 3 cases, people are calling you on your cell phone. They're disturbing you, they're bothering you because they want you to make decisions for them, or they want you to answer questions for them. They cannot do it themselves. This should not be. There are 3 things you can do to get started right now to relieve that problem. You can clearly identify which deputy or deputies will perform your task when you are not available. You can decide what training or skills you need to provide for them. You can decide when and where to start their training. One of the main reasons why you need to train your deputies is because you want to help them to grow. You need them to become more competent and more confident, and they can only do this by performing tasks and getting feedback. So what you need to do is think about picking a small project that you can get them involved in. Give it to them, and then discuss what is the timetable, how long should it take, what is the budget requirements for this project if it's needed, and how is this project going to be measured when it's completed? How will we know if they were successful or not successful? So there are some specific things that you can do to help your folks. Once you give them the ideas of what they need to do, you need to leave them alone. Let them go out and try it on their own and let them grow. Only give them some help when they think they need it. There are some action items that you can do to make this happen. First, make a list of what tasks or projects you can delegate to your deputy. Second, decide to whom and when you will delegate these tasks or projects. Third, decide how you will measure the success of the completed task or project. You will need to learn how to give effective feedback to your deputies also. When they perform their task or their project, they need to know how well they have done. If you already have a program where semi-annually or quarterly you're giving feedback to your deputies, that's good. If you don't have it, you need to think about starting it. You need to find a time and a place where you can sit down with them and give them good feedback. Maybe you're giving them feedback every week. If so, don't stop. That is important also. But the formal feedback, the annual, the semi-annual, or the quarter feedback for them should be much more formal, and it should have notes that are written down as to what was discussed and what the results were. And then it needs to be signed by both you and them. You know, 80% of the leaders I talk to say that this is their least favorite thing to do, giving this feedback. They don't like it. But the workers need it, because to many of the workers, feedback is just as important as a paycheck. Make sure that you sit down with them and pick a time and a place that's suitable for both of you. Make sure that you start off with a tone of voice that is going to be inducive of positive thinking. You want them to be open and not have any fear. You want them to tell you how they're doing. So you ask them the question, you figure out what it is you want to talk about, and then you let them do the talking. It is a discussion, 2 ways. Do not dominate. Let them do most of the talking. Let them tell you how they feel about their performance and what they need to improve upon. So at the end of the conversation, you need to make sure that you give them some positive affirmation, that you're going to be there willing to help them to be more successful in the future. So there are 3 things that you can do. First, decide when and where you give your deputy formal feedback. 2, decide how you will start the feedback session to help them feel secure and speak openly. 3, how will you close the meeting in order to offer them support and improvements? Today, I have discussed the first 3 steps in becoming a dynamic leader. What you need to remember is that the first thing is that you need to train your deputies so they can do the same job you do. Second of all, you need to help them to grow, help them to become more confident, be more efficient. Third thing, you need to give them effective feedback so they know how well they have done. If you take these 3 steps, I think you will see a big change in the people around you and the way your job is performed. So I hope to see you in the next segment where we will be talking about more of how to become a dynamic leader. Thank you and have a good day.